One day in the afternoon, when I had returned home from school after having lunch, I was getting ready to go to my room to rest for a while. When the doorbell rang, I opened the door and saw my uncle. I invited him to the living room with greetings, and my mother came to welcome her and greeted her. I also went. I poured 2 cups of tea and put them on the reception table and sat for a few minutes, and then I told my mother that I was going to my room to do my homework, and then I went to my room because I was tired of studying. I was lying on the bed to take a nap for a few minutes, and at the same time, I was listening to my mother and aunt. They were talking about one of the residents of our neighborhood who was several months pregnant, and strange things had happened to her. My aunt told me that our neighbor lost her mind because of the nightmares she had at night and went to the hospital this morning. My aunt continued to take it away. A few days ago, the same neighbor was talking to me about ghosts and said that ghosts come to me every night when I sleep and scare me to death. Even because I am not afraid at night, my sister and mother stay with me at night. I am not afraid, but that genie who had the face of an old woman comes with a bent and bone-like body and sits on my chest and stares at my face. And no matter what I do, no one hears me after my uncle told me about the incident. Our neighbor told her about it, and my mother told her that these things usually happen to pregnant women. Then my mother told my aunt that when she was pregnant with me, she once saw a ghost in the middle of the night that came through the closed door. He enters the room and looks at my mother from the corner of the room for a few moments with his terrible face, and suddenly smokes and goes upstairs. Hearing these words from my mother, my hair stood on end, and for me, who was not more than 12 years old at that time, it was very scary and strange, and right there in the room, my body started shaking. But the stories and memories that Aunt Sohaila told my mother completely blew my mind, and even after hearing my aunt's memory, I almost fainted. After my mother's words were over, my aunt told my mother about her memories during her pregnancy. My aunt told my mother that when she was pregnant with her son, who was 8 years old at the time, she saw a white-clad ghost in the corner of my room in the dark. At first, I didn't pay attention to him, and I thought I was delusional. As I got closer and closer to the time of my child's birth, I felt his presence more, and later at night, I saw him more clearly in my room. During the day, wherever I went, I got a strange feeling. He said that someone was next to me, and I kept seeing the movement of household items. The doors of the rooms would open by themselves, the kitchen faucet would open and close, and the curtains of the house would shake strangely. I saw him moving into my bedroom until one night, I closed my eyes to sleep, and I saw someone calling me in a man's voice. I opened my eyes and saw that the same ghost was not next to me, and in a strange voice he told me to drink a glass of water. The child was thirsty. Out of fear, I pulled the blanket over my head, and the blanket was pulled away from me by a strange force. I looked around at that moment, and I didn't see the ghost. I saw that ghost sitting next to my bed again, but this time his belly was very big, even bigger than the TV table. Suddenly, I felt that he told me that the baby would be born in 4 days, and it happened. And after 4 days, my son was born. After my son was born, sometimes I saw the same ghost in my sleep and wakefulness. And he called my name several times, but I didn't dare to look at him anymore. After my aunt finished her story, there was a strange silence between my mother and Sohaila Khanum. My body started shaking and I lost consciousness. After an hour, I opened my eyes and saw that I was not well. My mother took me to the doctor, gave me medicine, and returned home. At night, when I was sleeping, I had several nightmares of the same pregnant ghost that mocked my aunt, so I didn't go to school for 2 days. Years have passed since then, and I wonder why most pregnant women have such issues, and are these things they see are real or an illusion?